this again?
This feels familiar. Oh, well, here we go again, Terry.
Here we go again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of the Rugby League Outlaws. Dan and I recorded this last night, and for some reason the camera didn't work, so we're brought to you live tonight on the fly. Hopefully Dan doesn't say anything that gets us kicked off, but we all know that I'm the $1 favourite for that. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at Top Sports. Dan, how you doing again, fella?
Mate, I'm doing it very well, thank you. It feels a little bit extraordinary. I'm sure we'll find our groove eventually. But, mate, any chance I get to talk more rugby league with you is a blessing. So I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that despite last night being the best episode we've ever recorded, it being out of focus and us having to convene here yet again. Thanks to everyone who is joining us. I can't see if anyone's there, but I'm assuming at least our mums are. So Let's go.
Look, obviously the slap happened as well last night. But you know what else happened yesterday, Dan? Brad Fittler dropped the worst New South Wales team you have ever seen.
This could be the worst Origin team I've ever seen. Now, as a Blue, I'm torn because I want to win because I'm sick of you guys enjoying, but I want to lose because I need to get rid of Brad Fittler. He had two choices, Terry. He could have picked a team to win. He could have picked a team with next year in mind in the future. He's done neither. I swear he's put the names in and gone randomizer and gone, yep, that's pretty crazy. I'll go with that. Absolutely hate this side, but I'll still be cheering them. But part of me hopes that Queensland win by a big, big margin and get rid of everyone.
Nearly every debutant that has featured in this series has been dropped by Brad Fittler. The only one who saved grace is Reece Robson. You can guarantee if there was game 4, he wouldn't be playing.
Absolutely right. We've seen Nico Hines thrown to the Wolves, out of position. You know, we've had Tavita Pangai Jr. picked out of nowhere and thrown to the Wolves and said, nah, he's not up to it. We've got Regan Campbell-Gillard coming back after being told last year publicly, you're not up to Origin anymore. We got a Saifidi brother. I swear he doesn't know which one's which. He just picks whatever. To their credit, they've been very good when they've played on the biggest stage. So I'm a little bit looking forward to that. But as a Queenslander, what do you make of a bench consisting of, you know, a big man in Saifidi, not a big minute player, a lock who plays 80 minutes every week and has never played in any other position bar, a fullback who can play a bit of centre wing, you know, he's a utility, and a hooker. Does that frighten you?
No, not really. Not at all. You have seen this in past Origins, right, from Queensland where they used to have like Ben Hunt and Michael Morgan on the bench. That's because you had the best players of all time literally just sat in that team. Like, it was a freakish run, right? Look, you know, we say it about the debutants. Hudson Young was absolutely dreadful in game 1, survived in game 2 and was really good and then gets cut. So I don't know, like, I don't know what you can do. Nico Hines was thrown into a game with no game plan and yeah, I don't know. What do you do there? Isaiah, look, he doesn't worry me whether he starts, comes off the bench. He, you know, there's no impact to him. I think this Origin series without Nathan Cleary has shown just how limited he really is. It's not a good Origin team. Let's put it that way. I think, you know, as a Queensland fan, I would now be disappointed if it's not a sweep.
Needs to be a sweep, mate. Is he setting up potentially to say, haha, you lost a potential sweep game to the worst team ever? Because we've had to cop that for years and years. The Fatty Vorton team, the 2020 team that you guys won. But yeah, I think
I was going to say that 2020 team was going to be the worst team ever assembled and somehow won. This is the worst team ever assembled for no reason.
Look, there is no reason.
The pick of that state. He's literally got the pick of that state, and that's what he came up with.
Doesn't it? Cody Walker.
I'll tell you this. I don't mind the Clint Gutherson over Matt Burton because, one, I don't think Matt Burton deserves it. 2, I think Clint Gutherson does.
Well, Guther's been real good, but you pick him or Reece Robson. You don't pick a hooker. Now, I think he's panicked and saying, okay, we've had injuries in the first 2 games and haven't had a centre to throw on. So he's picked a player who's played at this, you know, centre at this level before. But you can't pick Origins teams based on, what if this happens and what if this happens? Okay, Clint Gutherson can play anywhere. And okay, I'm sure someone can go into 9 if the worst happens to Damien Cook or Reece Robson. But you can't pick both. Now, I'm worried that if a second row gets injured, Isaiah Yeo, as Mitch correctly pointed out, has played second row before. But then what? Cam Murray can play second row, obviously, but then who play? Yo comes in at lock. What do you do with the forward rotation? Gerbo is going to have to play 80 minutes despite playing one game back. He was quite good against the Roosters, but with the respect to the Roosters, they're not this Queensland pack. And then he's shown Bradman best in, and then Greg Alexander's gone on NRL whatever and gone as a justification. It's all he's wanted to do since he was a kid. No, there's 300 players out there that aren't any good that wanted to play Origin. One of them, one of Dally M, played 12 minutes, got crucified, and's been sacked and forgotten about. And then you got both of them going on Channel 9 or Fox or both going live going, are you trying to drive a wedge towards us? You're the one who drove the wedge by picking a bloke out of position, throwing him to the Wolves, laughing at him, and then saying, too bad, so sad. And then picking a 34-year-old Cody Walker. You might be 32 now to say that, but 34 Cody Walker. I hate Brad Fittler. I hope you guys beat us. I hope you guys flog us. And I want them all marched down George Street and pelted with rotten tomatoes.
Sweet. Now, let's go on to the Queensland team here because we really have only had to make selection changes due to injuries this Origin series. I'm not sure if Flegler's suspended or injured. We haven't done any of the research on it, but he's been replaced, and Selwyn Cobbo hasn't come back into the team whatsoever. Big Red gets his debut, though. What do you think about that?
Mate, I love it. I said that I would have picked Hopgood, but if you're going to pick Big Red, you're going to pick him in the dead rubber because there's every chance he'll go out there and get sent off in the first tackle he makes. There's every chance that he goes out and be player of the match. He's just that kind of guy. I'm really excited. I put a poll out today and then forgot to hit send, so it's been 24 hours of bad tech issues saying, can we rename him Big Maroon? What are your thoughts, Terry? No, don't like it. No. Big Red, Big Maroon.
He'll always be Big
I'm
Red.
excited. I'm going to throw it out there right now, Terry. His first tackle will be a head-high penalty, and he'll start a biff.
I was about to say he's $1.05 to give away a penalty in his first set of 6. He's $1.30 to start a fight, and he's $1.50 to get sent off.
This could be entertaining.
Yeah, he will literally be entertaining. Now, do you know what wasn't entertaining on the weekend, Dan?
What was that?
The Tigers, the Dogs, and the Dragons lost a combined 192-16, and the only points scored were by the Dragons.
Now, we were there on Thursday night, and we thought we put 52 on the Dragons. That's going to be good. Anyway, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but you look the next couple of nights and what we did fails in comparison.
Yeah,
look, it's pretty disgusting, but all I've heard all weekend is how much of a disparity there is in the competition, how it's an uneven competition, how people are tuning out in droves. When 3 or 4 weeks ago, everyone was talking about how close it is, how anyone can beat anyone. Between Penrith and 10th, I believe there's 6 competition points. Going back a little bit, there's like 2 points between like 10th and 13th. Then you have, Newcastle, and then you have the 3 terrible teams. Now, Terry, can you just tell me offhand, because I can't remember, where do the Dragons, the Dogs, and the Tigers sit currently?
17th, 16th, and 15th, respectively. Now,
and last year, did any of them make the 8?
No, they were all sort of around the bottom. The Dragons were okay last year, but they've dropped off significantly this year. Now, on the 10th of June, there was an article posted by the Sydney Morning Herald saying that this is the closest competition since 1982. NRL.com backed that up, and obviously then the Cairns Post and all the sort of state-based newspapers have picked that up and run with it. So a month ago, we're saying it's the closest competition, in 30-odd years or 40 years. And now we're saying it's the most wide open competition. No, there's just 3 bad teams, right? Yeah. And the worst part about it for the Bulldogs is they got beaten by the 4th worst team in the competition, who sit just above them.
That is a big one for me. Now, going and losing to Cronulla, who will put points on for fun all season against bad teams, okay, everyone in the world saw that coming. Despite, a little uneven start, there you go. Now, the Tigers were always due for belting. And you look at the Cowboys in the last, ever since they got flogged by the Tigers, have turned into arguably the form team of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
With or without Origin stars, it doesn't seem to matter. There's something in the water up there, and I'm really enjoying the way they play football. But I saw two of those beltings coming. I didn't see the other. I think I might have even tipped the Bulldogs, perhaps. I hope not, because that would be very embarrassing. But a lot of people did. But for them to go out and get beaten 6-0 by a pretty ordinary Newcastle side is bottom of the barrel stuff, and it just shows how bad they are at the moment. But outside those three teams, mate, anyone can beat anyone.
No, sorry, you didn't tip the Dogs. We both tipped the Knights last week. You tipped you tipped the Roosters. I tipped Manly.
Oh.
Still good. Anyway, now let's go on to these three teams here, because there is a chance that we can say they were the worst team in the NRL. Now, I know when this goes out, people are going to turn and go, oh, the 1998, 1999 Magpies are the worst team the NRL has ever seen. Too long ago. No one cares. We were just getting back into it. Super League fiasco was coming around, whatever. 2015, 16, and 17 Newcastle Knights are arguably the worst team we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably. Geez, these guys aren't much better.
Look, they're not. Yeah, those Newcastle sides, and I would throw the Cronulla 2014 Sharks in, and we were Asada and...
Yeah, but we were only bad for 1 year.
Look, true. Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, look, we're talking, the fact that we're even discussing this against that Newcastle side is frightening for all three teams, because, it's not like they're having... Parramatta came last couple of years ago after making the finals, and then they bounced straight back to the finals, as good teams do. Gus Gould came out and said today, I think, that they're 3 years behind where the Tigers are at, which I think he just hit the AI and put, please, the stupidest thing to annoy the most people as possible, enter, and then just read it out without actually processing, because if that's true, they're not going to play finals for 20 years. They're just bad sides, mate. They are bad, but I don't quite think they're as bad as that Newcastle side just yet.
So if you want to go over from the 15, 16, and 17 Newcastle Knights, they won 14.5 games. Obviously, they had the one draw in there with the Canberra Raiders. In the last 3 years, the Tigers and the Dogs have won 15 games. Now, obviously, there's the remainder of the season to play out in this one. But do you see a win coming for the Dogs or the Tigers unless they play each other? Probably not. They'll probably get a draw.
Yeah, I think the Dragons play the Tigers, because I mentioned to Scott during the week that that'll be the worst game ever. That was before the Dogs were wiped off the park on Sunday. So, yeah, look,
if you extend this, and if you go the 2015 Knights to the 2018 Knights, they won 23.5 games. In this 3.5 year period, the Bulldogs are currently sitting at 18 games. So they have to win 6 games in the last 9 rounds. I don't know if the Dogs have any more buys left up their sleeve, so it could essentially be 6 games in 8, six wins in 8 games to jump what could be considered the worst team of all time. All this is showing is that Gus Gould can't play rugby league like it's Football Manager.
No, he just signs anyone and puts him in. There's talk of him trying to sign Tino for $1 million. For what? You don't have a halfback, and we'll talk about that in a second. You don't have a number one, and I don't think Steve Crichton is a solution, and I'm higher on him than you are.
No. I'm real high on Steve Crichton, but he ain't a fullback.
Not as a fullback. And then 9, Reid Marnie, look, tackles his backside off, kicks early, chases hard. Has he got a try assist this season? Like, genuinely. If someone's watching, can you look it up how many try assists he's got? So I guarantee you it's not many. Now, it doesn't help when they don't score any points for a couple of weeks in a row, but wow. See, there you go. 8 years to fix a club, and they only came good once he left. So I think Bulldogs fans are in for a long slog, and I don't love saying that, because unless you're the Dragons, I don't enjoy your pain.
But this is the thing. Like, the Dogs, they go out and spend all this money elsewhere. They've got so much work they need to do. They haven't got a fullback. Stephen Crichton's not the answer. Matt Burton's not a half. But there's your best centre pairing in the competition if you chuck them in there. If you put Burton back, but then you need a fullback, a 6, and a 7. And you need a forward pack. But you can't go and spend $1 million on a prop, because you're going to get these plotters like Max King and Raymond Fatila-Mariner playing. They're average. They are bang average. And I know Dogs fans love them. They love that Preston kid, the rookie. If he weren't a rookie, he'd be in reserve grade.
Yeah, that's true. I like their 13, but he's a small dude as well. So
Yeah, but I mean, Curtis Moran, like, he played really well against us when we were tired from, running over the top of him for 76 minutes. Like, they've got so much they need to get done, and I'll tell you this: they're closer to a salary cap fine than they are a premiership.
completely fair. Now, as a Dogs fan, like just in my head, I'm just thinking, so six tries, 6 in 18 games. That's actually like 5 times more than what I thought. Thanks so much, Mitch. If you're a Dogs fan and you've just seen your team beaten 66-0 at home to Newcastle, what's the one thing you don't want to hear your team doing?
You don't want to hear your captain and coach going into a press conference saying, if you can't handle this, get off the bus. Because those fans probably got off the bus and heard that comment.
Yeah.
I nearly swore.
It's staying off. Shout out to Dogs fans who are backing up this week or next week, rather. Well, you got my respect, because I'll tell you what, if Cronulla got beaten 66-0 and Dale Finucane and Sir Fitz got on and said, oi, don't support us if you don't want to watch us lose 66-0, cool, there's other sports on. Kids, sun's out, take them down the park. There's plenty of things I could be doing rather than spending hundreds of dollars to freeze at a, cavernous, empty stadium to watch a team get flogged by a team that, is New South Wales Cup plus Ponga. I can't believe Reid Marnie did that. Now, I know he did come out and apologise, but I put into AI, please type a lame ass apology up. That came out word for word. That just misread. He misread the situation, Terry.
Yeah, he really did. Now, and the worst part about this, it's not as if like Penrith strolled into town and beat him 66-0, or the Storm, or even the flat track bully Sharks, who had towed them up a couple of weeks before. They got beaten by a team who were 3 points better than them on the competition ladder and 1 position. They're a bottom 4. That was a bottom 4 game. And you're thinking, if you're a Dogs fan, you're probably thinking, you know what, we can beat Newcastle and then we can get above them with another win, or we've got the bye coming up and the Knights are going to lose a game. Jesus, man, to lose 66-0, I don't know what's worse, losing 66-0 or your captain being cool about it.
I got to say, I don't want to go on a tangent because we'll be here all night. I'm getting a bit sick of the first thing players think after playing badly is, it's a fan's fault. If you don't love me, go suck it. That's not the attitude. No. These guys have got, we got to get up there. And I say we because I got to get up tomorrow morning. And, I'm not going to work, but next week I'll go back to work when I start my new role. To get the money to go support these blokes. They're getting paid 500, 600, 700K to go out there and play football. They get flogged 66-0 and go in and go, it's your fault. Get out of here. And then they win and go, get that up, you haters. Oh, mate, they've got it very, very wrong there. Well, I would have been out groveling today saying, I apologise. But some good news for the Bulldogs overnight.
Yeah, Mitch has said in the comments that Gus today has said they don't want to make any unnecessary panic changes, and then they signed Toby Sexton. Now, let's go back in time. Toby Sexton was on the books of the Bulldogs. He had a 4-year contract, and the option was for a 4th year, and he rejected it and went to the Gold Coast. And now they're bringing him back. What does he solve? What problem does he solve? Like, this guy is just Kyle Flanagan, but 2 years younger.
He's
terrible.
Flanagan. Yeah, look, I don't know is the short answer. I said last week that the Dragons should be smart, Alex, and say, give us Toby Sexton if you want Ben Hunt, but it doesn't solve. I'd be looking for a long-term 7 because he ain't it. I know there's lots of talent there, and he had a couple of real good games, but, I mean, he's sitting behind Tanner Boyd, which says a lot. And I don't want to bag on the Titans because I love them, but he's sitting behind Tanner Boyd. Now, I tweeted out last night or this morning, I can't remember, that, the Bulldogs spent $500,000 transfer fee, plus whatever they're paying to sign that Opalu kid. Oluwapu, sorry. Now he's behind Toby Sexton. Now, people have come out and said he's injured. Well, okay, that's going to happen. I'm not going to hold that against him. But Sexton hasn't signed short-term. He signed for 2 years. So they're saying he's going to be the halfback, and Burton's not going anywhere than 6. So they're not going to move into the centres. I don't care how badly he pays. They're paying him huge money, and they're going to stick by that. I'm really worried for the Bulldogs. And then now they come out and said that this kid can play 13. He's smaller than me, Terry, considerably. And you want him to go play 13? You've already got the smallest 13 in the comp. Now you want to go backwards? After all we heard was how he was going to solve the problems. He was going to unlock Matt Burton in the halves. Which is it? Is Gus just – is he lost it? I think he's lost it.
Yeah, look, if there's something that I've learned in the last few years of social media is that your tirades are the greatest and Gus Gould has no idea what he's doing.
Thank you. I love it. But poor old Bulldogs. But Terry, we've been there and I don't care. You know what time it is though for, Terry?
What time is it then?
Time to talk some black, white, and blue. Yeah, we're going to keep this to probably about 4 hours. That's about enough, I think.
If you're not a Sharks fan, you probably want to log off right now because there's going to be some serious gloating. And if you're a Dragon fan, stay tuned.
Yeah, but please, we've got top sport tips coming up, so please. This past weekend, Thursday night against the once rivals, now their little brother, and anyone who says otherwise, even in joke, has just got to be quiet because it's ours.
Yeah. They got their nappy pulled down, spanked, and then got their teeth put back in and had a hot bottle of milk, went to bed crying. They were absolutely flogged. Now, lots of good came out of this weekend because, again, I always say to you is that if you walk away scoring 50 points, sometimes you don't have anything to work on. But we conceded 16 points, and it's the way that we conceded them. That crappy try off an error where Jacob Little literally looked at Michaela Ravalawa standing on the wing. He looked at Ronaldo standing 4 meters in, and mate, seriously, he I don't know. He scores that try. Mitch, if you're in the comments and you had your kid on your shoulder, it was really rude. And if that wasn't you, I hope you got blocked by him as well. The second try was absolutely, it was just a great play and a great pass by Ben Hunt. But
three guys, Terry.
Huh?
3 guys were there to beat him, to tackle him.
The read from Jesse Ramian was disgraceful. Will Kennedy did enough to hold him up and then, wait for his mate to come over. And, he comes over and Nickera comes over, didn't do anything. So, and then the third try was just downright disgusting. That, you know what? That should be played all season. Just keep it on loop.
Yeah, absolutely it should. And the boys should be made to watch that and thought it's pretty embarrassing. Now, I got to give props to your boy, Blake Brayley, who gave chase despite never being ever going to make that tackle. Moylan chase despite not being able to run you or I down. And the other, Nicho Hynes was the only other one to chase. Now, it was pretty awful from, I think it was Wilton and Williams. And I know we should have just tackled Ben Hunt, to be totally honest. But whatever it was, I spent the first half bagging on Jesse Ramian because I thought he dropped the first ball even though it was proven it wasn't him. And then he rushed out of the line and I just can't forgive that. And then the kick comes across from Matt Moylan. Pinpoint right in front of us. Jesse Ramian soars higher than the stadium and scores. It was very hard to be a Jesse Ramian hater at that moment because that was a beautiful try.
Yeah. Do you know who it is also hard to hate as well? Tommy Hazelton.
Big bold Tom. Can we just get it on record that anyone that's watching, Tall Tom is not his nickname. He's Big Bald Tom. Cold hero.
It is Big Bald Tom. Now, that guy is insane. And about a minute before, I said to you that if he scores, I'm going to go absolutely ballistic. Sorry, I've just got to move because it looks like my internet's cutting in and out here. This is just what happens when you live stream, isn't it? But, crashes over, stadium goes mental, everyone goes mental. This guy now, we asked the question last night before Team List Tuesday came out, had he done enough to start? I still think there's going to be a late change. I don't think Toby's going to start.
Yeah, completely fair. Now, I just want to say to this man right here, to say he went ballistic was an understatement because he lifted me. And for those Mitch would have known, I ain't a small dude by any stretch. So that was a great show of strength. And that is what Tom inspired him to do. Yeah, look, I would be undroppable, as Paul says. I would be shocked if he doesn't run out this week, especially with the bench name the way it is. I don't want to go there just yet, but well, there it is. Jesse Colquhoun season, baby. I couldn't hold back, and nor should I. I'm so excited. This is the bench I wanted to see all season. So I'm very, very excited. But going back to Hazelton, yeah, you heard just people, Tommy, as he sat down. Like, this man is just incredible. Now, I would argue, Terry, that if he had a full head of hair, people would still be chanting his name. No. But it wouldn't quite be at the same because...
No, if you're 23 years old, and if you're 23 years old and bald as hell, you're an instant fan favorite. That's why the ladies love Dids.
Completely right.
Now, Dale Finucane out of this game has copped a 2-week suspension for just a brilliant tackle.
Nothing wrong with it. I thought penalty at worst. Now, as producer did say, it's got about 1 million loading points. So we knew he was gone.
He got them all at Cronulla. Never copped a suspension at Melbourne. I don't think he ever went to the judiciary. It's the same as Aiden Tolman. Do you know Aiden Tolman never went to the judiciary when he played for Canterbury and Melbourne? He got suspended twice at Cronulla. I don't know what it is.
Jersey. Just going on Colquhoun real quick. Had a couple of games last year. Was pretty good, to be honest. Thrown in late when we're otherwise busted. But if you've seen him for Newtown, he is a beast.
Yeah,
early in the year, Hazelton was running over everyone. Since he's moved out and Colquhoun's come back in, because Colquhoun had a pretty serious injury. It's in a moon boot for a lot of weeks, actually. He's just steamrolling people. He's way too good for New South Wales Cup. Yeah. They had a couple of injuries in Tessapali and Geordie Lenu. And so Colquhoun's been playing in the second row, which has stunted him just a little bit, but he ran over people, scored a brilliant try. Actually scored one this past weekend that was called back, unfortunately. Probably a right decision on second viewing. But yeah, he's a big boy, and he's going to cause a lot of trouble.
Tree trunk legs. Now, speaking of the Jets, they were absolutely humbled on the weekend. Now, this was second versus ninth, and just before this game, Penrith were beaten by Canberra.
Yeah, and we were throwing.
Yeah, later on in the New South Wales Cup round, the Dogs also lost as well. So this was an opportunity for Newtown to take first spot. And instead, they got absolutely flogged by a Dragons team. Now, I posed a question to you last night, Dan. Should the NRL Dragons team be dropped to reserve grade and the reserve grade team promoted? Because, Jesus, they were clinical. How were they ninth?
Mate, they destroyed us. Like, they just humbled a far superior, on paper, Jets team. You know, Newtown couldn't get anything going, and I was getting very frustrated. And I've said that Newtown are the team that I can't watch lose because they're so much better. Cronulla, I hate watching lose, but I can sort of cop it. Newtown, that team on paper, we're like $1.30. And 13 plus was the shortest price. And when we ran out, okay, they scored early, and I thought, we're going to do what we did a few nights ago. We're going to run them down. We're going to kill them. Just never came. So we did score 3 tries, unconverted all of them, thanks to Roti, to Josh Mansour. But look, outside of him and Colquhoun, there wasn't very much to talk about. But yeah, there's probably 6 or 8 players in that Dragons team that next week can be saying, oi, what more can we do? So we've just spanked Newtown, who have a better forward pack than now the one in front of us at St. George. So yeah, it was a good week for their reserve grade team. I'd be shocked if there wasn't mass changes.
Paul's asked kind of a cipher. Look, one was dreadful in reserve grade and one was close to our best player last week. So what a stupid question, Paul. Don't ask another question.
Get off the stream.
Now, final chat before we go into top sport. Cale Iro, the talk is getting louder and louder that he wants out of the club. There is a suggestion that he could be on his way to Newcastle. The Bulldogs have inquired about his services, and people are saying that he could follow Shane Flanagan. Brendan turns around and says he could follow Shane Flanagan. Shane Flanagan had nothing to do with this guy. John Morris picked him up. If they were to say he was going to follow any of the old Cronulla coaches, it would be John Morris. Flanagan had nothing to do with him. Hey, leave it on that. Iro is a player who, look, if we lose him, we're going to lose him, right? I don't know where, like, he was the New South Wales Cup Player of the Year last year. He debuted on the wing for us, but his defense isn't getting any better. His attack is brilliant. When you give him the ball, he's fantastic. He can't defend, and he's getting caught out. Like, we were down in Canberra earlier this year, and Brad Schneiderlin ran around him, ran through him, jumped over him, did everything that he needed to. All the tries came down that edge. You and I are Iro's biggest fan. We absolutely love the guy. I was stoked when he came from Newcastle. But if we lose him, it's to keep Sam Stone Street. I'm all for it.
That's exactly the words you took it right out of my mouth. There looks to be one position if Talakai is going to move, which I still think is Ronaldo's if he wants it. Sam Stonestreet is special. Like, we being the Jets, they were disgusting on the weekend. Let's call a spade a spade. Every time Stonestreet got the ball, he ran around someone and he made 30 metres. Now, he didn't score a try or anything like that, but he was very, very good. I don't have his stats, but I guarantee you that he was better than any of the backline because they were all just rubbish. This kid is special, and I love Hero. I was Team Hero. You were Stonestreet. We're going to have a whole thing, but I mean, if you can only pick one, it's going to be Big Sam, and I think the fact that he was upgraded to the top 30 and Hero's still asking for it now shows that Cronulla have made that decision too. Now, in saying that, I would go tomorrow to Kale and say, you're in the top 30. Now, just here's your contract, sign it, bang. But where does he get in? That's the problem. Because, you know, if there's 10 weeks to go or 10 games to go, however that works out, you can't go in now and start messing with these combinations. Now, if there's an injury, I think, you know, they go to Tracy. They may even go to Hiroti over him at this stage. So I think 2023 is dusted in terms of Hero. Now, if a wing spot comes up, I think you go Tracy, then you go Stonestreet, because I don't think Hero on the wing works. Maybe at fullback, you put Hero in, because what we heard was he was training.
But Tracy's been fullback.
Well, that's true. And then Kate Dykes was training at 6. So I think he's 2 injuries away no matter where you go. And that sucks because I'm a huge fan of his. And if he does get named, if he runs out this weekend for Cronulla, I'm over the moon.
Yeah.
But I can't see how it happens. And I mean, he's 20-something now. He's got every right to be looking at other clubs. So I can't blame him. I'd hate to lose him, but it is what
that's the thing. It's not like it's a 19, 20-year-old going, oh, Jesus, put me in first grade. I deserve it because I'm killing flag. You're talking about like a guy who's, was he 24? Let's just have a look at this now.
And as you said, he's coming off a superstar season in New South Wales Cup. Had a pretty good debut. I know he dropped a couple of balls, but people forget. He's
23, but it's, you know, if he was like, I get it, and the pathway is blocked, and I know people are saying, well, you can easily put Siffer into the forwards. No, you can't, not anymore. Siffer has like changed his body, he's changed his diet, he's changed everything about the way that he plays to turn himself into a great centre. I don't see it. You know, like the last couple of weeks, I've been a bit down on Sione Katoa's form. But again, like as you said, you're probably looking at Connor Tracy coming into that, or Sam Stonestreet. So yeah, he's two injuries, some maybe 3. So it's a tough one.
Which sucks because I love him, but you can't keep them all. And I'm firmly on the Dykes is the next 6, and Stonestreet's the next whatever. So I think Hero probably falls behind that, which is a real shame. But I mean, as I said, it is what it is.
Now, do you know what else is a shame, Dan?
What's that?
Us taking money from Top Sport.
That's not a shame at all. Tristan loves us / hates us.
Tristan absolutely loves us, apart from when we hit cash out.
That's good. So I got a big bounty at the boxing, Terry. We were there. You were there on the co-main. I put a quick sneaky 10, doubled my money on the underdog, just for the brag more than anything.
Yeah,
but sorry, Tristan.
Absolutely. Now, someone's just asked if Dykes is the next 6, then what happens to Tricky? He probably leaves as well. Now, we have a shortened round of this week because of that pesky state of origin interfering in my rugby league, but we've got buys to the Brisbane Broncos, North Queensland Cowboys, Newcastle Knights, Penrith Panthers, the Sydney Roosters, Manly Warringah, and the Storm. So let's get into the games. Dan,
I'm not going to miss any of those teams, just quietly.
No, I'm not going to miss any of the teams. I'm definitely not going to miss this game, mate. Thursday night, 7:50 out at CommBank Stadium, the West Tigers taking on the Cronulla Sharks. Now, Tigers, 66-point losers. The Sharks, 36-point winners. Dan, how do you see this game going?
Well, Tigers actually lost by 70, Terry.
70, they did, yeah. They did 74.
Never miss a trick, do we? Look. Let's call a spade. I'm licking my lips, mate. And Nico Hines will be licking his lips. And I dare say Sif Talakai will be licking his lips. If Cronulla don't put a cricket score up this week, then again, we're right back where we were. So, I'm pretty confident in tipping Cronulla in this one. I expect the Tigers to come out firing, though. If they don't lead or they're not close at 20 minutes, fold the club, send them to Perth, and then shoot them into the sun because it's over for them. After copping that loss, all week they would have copped it. They have to go out and lift against Cronulla.
That West Tigers team is a borderline joke.
I don't know half their backline. Me.
I mean,
Rugby
you
League
only know
lunatic.
Jareen Buller because he's a rookie, and you know Tommy Talau because his dad was pretty good, and Stafford Toa scored a hat-trick against the Cowboys a few weeks ago. Dane Laurie's the 6, Brandon Wakeham's the 7. Their front row pairing's great. Their hook is ordinary. Their back row's really good. I couldn't pick any of their bench out of a lineup. I've never heard of Talon De Silva. Sean Bloor, I didn't think he was at the club anymore. Alex Seyfarth, is he the tall redhead?
I guess so.
And then they've got a Stacey James on debut. Will Smith's on their bench. Oh man, that team's tragic. And then wow, Alex Twoll is out. He can't get a run. Brent Naden can't get a run. David Norfoluma is injured. Look, I'm going to ask this: if you're a Tigers player, how do you get injured in that game last week? Because you didn't make a run and you didn't make a tackle. So how did you get injured?
Like there was a divot under the posts where they kept kicking conversions and someone tripped. Is my only guess because dead set. Yeah, they couldn't have. They can't be fatigued. Put it that way, mate. I'm going to tip Cronulla. Surprisingly,
yeah, I'm going to tip Cronulla as well in this game. Dids isn't here. I'm supposed to get away with it.
No, I'm not.
Pick the Tigers.
That's right. Yeah, you will.
Now, Friday night, 8 o'clock. This game should be moved to 6 o'clock.
And they should cancel the 8 o'clock game.
You know what? They should just cancel this game. The Dragons are taking on the Raiders at whatever home ground they've decided they're going to play at. No Ben Hunt. No hope. The Raiders get Hudson Young back. They lose Corey Horsburgh. Canberra?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's going to be Canberra. Although, if the Dragons are going to cause an upset, it'll be this week because no one will see it coming. It'll come after a big loss. But we also said that last week and went out and flogged them. So
right. So Tyrell Sloan, who was probably the only shining light against us, has been dropped. For Paul Turner. Okay. Talatau Toto Moga, who scored a try, has been dropped.
Of course.
Okay. Matthew Fagai, who didn't attempt to catch the ball against Jesse Ramian, has retained his position. Moses Sawley's back. Talatau Amon, Jaden Sullivan. Man, that team's dross. Like, you're right. If the Dragons and Tigers are playing in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to watch it.
No, I'll take one for the team, but no, you call this.
I'll abduct you that night. No one's watching. But again, how is Tyrell Sloan injured? Apart from that run last week, he didn't do anything.
Mate, you made a good terror-saving tackle against Ronaldo, to be fair. So maybe he hurt himself there, which is a shame. We don't want to make light of that. But what I'm going to make light of is that the Dragons suck. And Nurner, you guys deserve it for giving us grief for so many years. Canberra by 40. And I don't even like Canberra.
I'm going to say this game is going to be a little bit closer than that. I'm going to go Canberra by 38.
Yeah.
Eels and Warriors on a shortened Super Saturday. Now, no Mitch Moses, no Regan Campbell-Gillard. They get Junior Paulo back.
Big in.
Yeah, Dejan Arce and Ryan Madison. Are they the halves? Was that named today? It is Dejan Arce and Ryan Madison. Sean Russell is the fullback because no Clint Gutherson. Bailey Simonson in red hot form stays in the team. Off getting Ogwood. Yeah, look, that team's just way too good. Now the Warriors team as well, they were really disappointing last week.
Awful. Was Johnson named? Because there's talk he won't play.
Sean Johnson's been named in the 7. Adam Fennell, Blake Wade Egan, Bunty Afoa, Jackson Ford, Mitch Barnett, Tohu Harris. That's a good team. That's a good team. I just think that the way Parramatta are playing at the moment and what's on the line for Parramatta to propel themselves up into 6th and then give themselves a shot to get into the top 4, I'd pick the Eels, but in a close game.
I think the Warriors will win. I think they'll bounce back. They were tragically bad on Friday night in front of a huge crowd. And it was not disappointing to see because, results are results. That doesn't really matter. But it's like that was the game where they really could have proven themselves and they fell short. This is a brilliant opportunity. They'll go in as heavy favourites against Parramatta. And you won't say that on a non-origin affected round. I just can't see where the points come from because when Moses was out the other week and Brown's obviously still suspended, it was the king. who lifted and laid on like 8 tries. He won't be there. So I think it'll be a rough night for Para. I think they'll take the loss here. It doesn't really matter. I'll tip the Warriors in a close one.
Look, I hope you're right. I hope that the Warriors do win because the scariest thing is Parramatta going up the ladder at the moment. And then 7:30, the Rabbitohs against the Bulldogs. Now, the Rabbitohs are missing like 12 players and should still win this game comfortably.
Yeah, well, the fact that they're favourites on the betting market, they're good mates at Top Sport, says everything. Dogs fans, I feel for them, but I hope they get out and force this week because they should win this game. Let's be honest. Now, I know South has still got some real superstars, but they're missing like everybody. They've got one member of their first choice spine there, and half their forward pack's out. If the Dogs can't play, I'll tell you what, if the Dogs lose this by more than 10, put them on the rocket to Perth, to the Sun via Perth, because they don't deserve to play out the rest of the season. I think South will win. I'm 100% picking South without any. I think Blake Taff is better than any of the 1 to 6 that the Bulldogs can throw out there this week. Which is quite sad because I don't think he's all that great. Yeah, I think this will be a bit of a bludger of a game, but I think South will get home late.
Yeah. Look, we've got to tip differently here, so I'm going to tip the Dogs.
That's fair. In context.
Yeah. And then finally, we have the Gold Coast Titans against the Dolphins on Sunday afternoon. Should be a fun game. Titans missing AJ Brimson, Mo Fotuaika, Tina Fa'asuamaleaui, and Dave Fifita. The Dolphins just missing everything at the moment.
They are. Their depth has really been tested, which we were
had a great performance against the Broncos though, but you've just got to kind of hope that there's that we're just going to fight all year against Queensland teams. Look, if ever there was a chance for the Dolphins to pick up another win, it's this game with all the injuries and Origin affected round. But you still have a look at the Titans team now. Let's go through the Titans: Jaden Campbell, Cam Pereira, Brian Kelly, Aaron Schopp, who's disgraceful, Phil Sami, Kieran Foran, Tanner Boyd. Yeah, look, that team, you get to the forward pack, Jolliffe, Isaac Fa'asuamaleaui, Cleese Haas, Joe Stimson, Isaac Lee. If ever there was going to be an upset, it was going to be here. I don't know. Give me the Titans.
Give me the Titans too. I think there's just too many points in them. This could be the game, a sneaky shout for game of the week because the Forex, they love it up there.
It's another game in the Forex Cup. That'll just about do us, Dan.
I think that went very well. Thank you so much to everyone that's commenting, kept us very distracted. It's hard to do both at once. But look, just before we sign out, Terry, tomorrow night we'll be back. Well, I'll be back at 8 o'clock hosting Rugby League Rumble. Yeah, the boys. We've got 4 of Twitter's most handsome gents, and most learned gents coming on representing their teams. And then, please go on.
I think I'm going to tune into this one just to see what competition I don't have in the finals.
Well, there you go. I'm looking forward to it. But look, there will be an announcement tomorrow night without blowing my own horn too early. We've got a girls' night organised. We've got 4 of Twitter's most beautiful, learned superstar supporters. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll announce them tomorrow. I'm just waiting for one more confirmation, but I'm sure it will come. I'm excited. Make sure you get on, play along. If you would like to be on, please reach out to us. Look, Terry's already through the grand final, obviously. And you can tell by that smirk, he's pretty confident. But, look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Got to brush all the opposition aside in this one, mate.
You know what I'm looking forward to this weekend, Terry?
Hayley Matt Moylan.
Hayley Matt Moylan and Rugby League, baby.